Drone would have provided an opportunity to quickly investigate, search the great territory and see the place in the plan and find new proofs. It also can see the facts of the mining of the territory. As far as the combat actions are concerned, yesterday Ukrainian military continued regrouping and amassing of forces at the key directions of the anti-terrorist operation. During the 24 hours, Ukrainian units have more than once exchanged fire with militants in the vicinity of the following settlements: Земляне, Авдіївка, Городишка, Обоза, Іллінська, Стукалова, Балка, Сабівка, Червонопартизанськ, Теплична, Василівка, and Станична, Луганська. The situation at the Ukrainian-Russian border remains complicated. Terrorists are continuing their shelling of border units and the positions of armed forces. With the aim to provoke, the bandits are firing and shelling the territory of Russia from handguns, mortars, artillery, including Grad batteries. From the Russian military side, they are firing at the positions of Ukrainian military. Also, there's an active air reconnaissance with the breach of airspace of Ukraine. Yesterday at 4:25 p.m., the border guards have registered the flight to the territory of Ukraine for the depth of 300 meters of a drone that was doing air reconnaissance at the height of 1,000 meters. Yesterday from 9 to 11 p.m. from Monotsky and Mityakinsk settlements on the territory of Russia, they shelled our positions in the border zone. Approximately at the same time, they shelled the border guards point in the Chervonopartizansk vicinity. They are massing personnel and technique close to the border. In Belovsky and Sudzhansky districts of Kursk Oblast, they have redeployed the brigade of helicopter units of Russia. 34 armored armored machines are in the seas next to the village Biloberiska of Bransk-Kuchen. To Belarus, to the city of Homel, yesterday a Russian military train with 65 platforms with self-propelled mine throwers came. Yesterday also terrorists have taken 10 tanks from Russia to Ukraine that are now moving towards Donetsk. Yesterday at 3:30 p.m., while trying to enter Ukraine from Russia by the regular bus Kharkiv-Belgorod, a citizen of Ukraine was detained who takes part in the terrorist activity. He is an active participant in the so-called Russian Orthodox Army. In Mariupol, while she was trying to go to the temporarily occupied Crimea, a citizen of Ukraine, Elena Blaha, was detained, who was engaged in propaganda of terrorism and was heading an entire information unit in with Russian mercenaries in Donetsk. Yesterday in Horlivka, terrorists fired from automated rifles at a local ambulance. Luckily, no one was hurt. Over the last day, only the pyrotechnic units of the State Emergency Service discovered 714 explosives. They have searched 21.6 hectares of territory and 4.5 hectare of water space, 7 buildings. From the 6th of July, In Slovyansk and adjacent territories, the Ukrainian emergency services have discovered and defused over 9,000 explosives. They have checked and demined 572 administrative buildings. The head of the Ministry for Foreign Affairs of Germany, Frank-Walter Steinmeier, considers that the trust to Russia is seriously undermined. At the same time, the authorized representative of the German government in relations with Russia, Gernot Erner, voiced his fear that Moscow can resort to a direct military interference. He explained that Moscow has not yet stopped his support, the support of terrorists, and that's why European Union implemented the sanctions of the third level. Do you know about the fate of 11 soldiers who went missing after the shelling near Shakhtarsk? Officially, 10 people were killed and 11 went missing. The fate of those 11 who went missing in action is still unknown. We are checking the details and we are gathering information. About Shakhtarsk and the 25th Brigade, it's known from our own sources to the 5th Channel. There's an investigation why the soldiers were sent to Shakhtarsk from which was controlled by the terrorists, and the soldiers say that almost 150 people died there. Why they were not supported by military technique? Every combat action, if there are losses, we conduct investigation. That's why we are awaiting the results of investigation. If you have in mind the events next to Shakhtarsk, we still don't have the precise data. I hear for the first time about 150 killed. There cannot be 150 soldiers in one convoy. Mostly the convoy was able to leave, and 10 people died and 13 were wounded. The Russian agency Novosti reports that they talked to the terrorists and they said that the Ukrainian military who are encircled in the south of Luhansk region are talking to terrorists about surrender, and our military proposed to destroy all the ammunition and equipment. However, the terrorists do not agree. They demand the surrender of equipment and ammunition. The Ukrainian military do not agree, and the terrorists say that within 3 or 4 days all our people will be destroyed. Terrorists also say that Ukrainian aviation rather often do not hit the spot, and the humanitarian and the food supplies and other supplies land on the terrorist-controlled territory. Why don't they drop the help when they are lower? All the information which comes through the so-called Donetsk and Luhansk People's Republic is lies. There have not been and there won't be any negotiations between our soldiers and terrorists as far as the airdrops are concerned. The cargo is delivered when there's an opportunity and when there's no threat that terrorists will use anti-aircraft weapons. Our intelligence works and the airdrops are being made. If it is not possible during the day, then it is done in the night. If it's not done from the air, then it is done on the land. and the guys have both ammunition and food and water. We don't have any facts when the drops land on the territory that we don't control. Can you please dwell in more detail on the crash site? Are there any works done by the OEC monitors, and whether there are combat actions anywhere in the vicinity? I can't tell you anything about today because at the moment the work is going. As far as I know, on Monday, a more powerful group of international experts have to arrive there through a corridor, including police personnel. Which police? Where from? Australian? No, Malaysian.
RTL. Why was there yesterday still fighting going on near the crash site of MH17?
Thank you for questions. Це питання до терористів.
This is the question to the terrorists who started the fighting. Another question from Channel 24. The acting governor of Luhansk region, Irina Verygina, said on her Facebook page that tonight a convoy of military equipment, of military machinery, came to the territory of Luhansk region from Russian Federation, 8 APCs and several batteries of Grad and Kamaz lorries. We don't have this information. We have the information that is already checked. I told you about the tanks that made their way to the territory of Ukraine from Russia. Quite a lot of information, including this from bloggers, does not get confirmation later. But we understand that through the places in the border which are temporarily not under our control, Russia continues to send weapons. However, every day there's less and less opportunity for them to do so. What is the length of the border? Well, the length of the border between Ukraine and Russia, the border is almost 2,000 kilometers, and we have some small points which are controlled by the terrorists. We have not calculated the total length. We are observing and monitoring those places for us in order to understand what we will face.
The Ukrainian army didn't do any fighting near the crash site of MH17 because there was heavy fighting going on.
Thank you for question. У нас було нічне зіткнення.
We had a night combat action next to Shakhtarsk the day before yesterday, but there was no active combat action on the side of Ukrainian military on the crash site. This also concerns the corridor that's organized for the work of international experts. Our journalist, Roman Gnatyuk, who is accredited in the ATO zone, has lost connection with us. Do you know anything about him? And if you don't, how the National Council for Defense and Security can help us? When the connection was broken? Quite recently. Come to me after the briefing and I'll get his contacts from you and we'll clarify the situation. Any other questions? You know, broken communication, it may happen because a person was at a distance and the battery went limp and there is no possibility to charge the battery because there's quite a lot of territory where you cannot do this. According to some data, at least our channel, 1+1, knows that not far from Dovzhansky border point, a number of Ukrainian military were encircled and blocked, and they had not any opportunity to get back to the Ukrainian controlled territory. At the moment, they say that the situation with material and ammunition is quite bad. Is it really so, and will you do anything in order to deblock this unit? Where the Ukrainian military are is the territory controlled by the anti-terrorist organization operations. So where they are is the territory where the forces of the anti-terrorist operation control. Any forces taking part in the anti-terrorist operation, when there's an opportunity, are being provided with food and ammunition. Any opportunity, as soon as it arises, is being used, and our military get this help. Maybe when there's an opportunity, the guys are being supported and they hold to their positions. Just not to reveal our military plans, I'll tell you that soon everything will be okay. Even the local population will be okay. Czech radio, Prague. I'll try to speak Russian. I heard when I talked to people in Maidan and Krещатик that there's a lack of weapons and uniform and various things that soldiers need. What about weaponry? Do you have enough? I know that the parliament allowed to change the budget in order to conduct in anti-terrorist operations. So do you lack anything, or do you have enough of everything? I have to say that over the time of the anti-terrorist operation, the territory occupied by the territories has dwindled to 1/4. Without weapons, without ammunition, and without support of the Ukrainian people, it would have been impossible for you to understand. There's now an active phase, and we prepare offensive and encirclement and destruction of terrorists. I won't show you the places, but we will have enough weapons and ammunition to win over them. No other questions. Thank you.